I was not diagnosed of depression, but a couple of years ago when I started here in Germany, there is this very dark times of my life. Like, um, umiiyak na lang ako and you don't know, but you feel so alone, so sad. Hi guys, it's me again, Chuck, and for today's video, I just want to sit down and share my thoughts about how Filipino nurses here in Germany are so prone of having depression. And I am not an expert, so just a disclaimer. If ever may mali man akong masabi or some wrong information or anything, please correct me. And you can actually write it on the comment section below. So yesterday, I met a new Filipino nurse. And they arrived actually last January this year and currently working on an Altenheim. Altenheim is literally translated to Alten is old and Heim is home. So it's a home for old people. And that's where I started too. When I arrived here in Germany, I started working on an Altenheim as well. And then after a couple of years, I resigned and applied to a public hospital. And one of the topics that we discussed yesterday was depression.
Depression is a state of low mood and aversion to activity. It can affect a person's thoughts, behavior, motivation, feelings, and sense of well-being.
I find it very important to talk about it. Not only to give information, but also maybe we can help, right? I was not diagnosed of depression, but a couple of years ago when I started here in Germany, there is this very dark times of my life. Like, umiiyak na lang ako and you don't know, but you feel so alone, so sad. And in this discussion, I would like to lay out some reasons that maybe if we can try to tackle this or to accept these things, then baka pwede nating malighten yung process natin as a new nurses here in Germany. I hope that this video will help nurses that are already here in Germany and also those other nurses who wants to come here in Germany and work as a nurse. I actually prepared a list which I think na ito yung mga reasons why Filipino nurses here in Germany are prone to depression. And as I've said earlier na I'm not an expert. So if ever na may mga mali akong masabi, please feel free to correct me. And if ever na meron kayong mga experiences, any story to tell that are actually related to this concern, isulat nyo na lang dun sa comment section sa baba. The first thing that I have here on my list is we cannot communicate. Well, what I'm trying to say is we are challenged in communicating. We all know that the language here in Germany is very difficult. And communication is a very important tool, especially na sa ating work, right? As a nurse. And to communicate, we need to speak the language. And di ba nga, German language is one of the most difficult language in the world. And in my case, I actually learned the language for almost a year in the Philippines. And then, when I arrived here in Germany, I still had a 3 months of schooling to improve my German language skills. But still, it's not enough. Believe me, I'm almost 4 years here in Germany and I'm still challenged when it comes to the language and communication. And why I listed that as the first one? Because alam niyo yung feeling na you want to express yourself, you want to say something, you have a lot on your mind, but then you cannot express it, you cannot say it, just because the language barrier is really there. And I don't know, but not that much of people actually here in Germany speaks English. And when you suppress that, like you want to say something and then di mo masabi, or you have some thoughts but you cannot verbalize it, that is actually so frustrating if you suppress it. It's so frustrating, and those feelings, especially na pag conflict or anything to that direction, like conflict, or meron kayong gustong ipo-point out, or meron kayong parang alam mo yung sagutan or anything, something like that, you cannot clear it up, you cannot express yourself, and what you're going to do is just to suppress it. And when you do it, when you suppress it, that's the time na mag-a-add yun sa tension, sa heavy na emotion. That's why this point that we cannot communicate, I put it on the first list, because it is really challenging to communicate in their language. And number 2 is, we know that we are intelligent. Alam natin na hindi tayo bobo. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to say that I'm intelligent, okay? But yun ang ibig kong sabihin. We are not stupid. Alam natin yun. And we know our capabilities and our abilities. And let's face it, most of the Filipino nurses na nandito na are actually the ones who are medyo brainy and also with ambition. Kaya nga tayo nandito, di ba? Because we work for it. We know our intellectual status. I'm not saying na matalino ako, but for sure I'm not stupid. And actually, most of the nurses na nandito na sa Germany are actually master's degree holders, may mga dean's lister before when during their college days, and also yung mga matatalino talaga. So when we arrive here in Germany, and we can never avoid it, meron talagang mga workers or mga kasamahan natin sa work na they think that you are stupid just because you cannot communicate, just because you cannot talk their language, and then they think that you are stupid, that you cannot do this, and you know what I mean. And you knowing na matalino ka, or knowing that you're not stupid, this kind of treatment from other people, it will dishearten you, it will discourage you, and then these negative feelings will build up, the feeling of frustration, disappointments, and not to mention you are not with your family here. You're alone here. And your friends are away as well. Then you start to feel depressed. And that leads to the third point that I have on my list, the lack of support system. As I mentioned, yeah, we are away from our family, we're away from our friends, and most of us have no one here. So maybe some of us are with some other Filipino nurses, but you only met them here in Germany already, or maybe during your language training. So, shall we say, less than a year or so. So, I don't know if you can really call them as your support system, but that's why you need to build friendship with those other Filipino nurses that you have here or mga kasamahan mo. And trademark pa naman natin mga Filipino that we are not so good in communicating our emotions. If we are being asked if how are we, kung kumusta ka or anything, we always say, I'm fine, I'm okay. You know what I mean? And it's so us. That's our culture. You can never take that away from us. And then the fourth one is that we see depression in a very different way. Us Filipinos, or I don't know, but kasi sa atin, we don't have that much of depression cases. Maybe in my time, in our time, but nowadays I've heard a lot in the news na that there are depressions. It's common already in the Philippines, but on our time, during our time, especially sa mga kaedad ko, I don't like yung mga pinanganak ng 90s or 80s. We see depression in a very different way. We don't believe in it. That's my fourth point in my list, that we don't see depression as a real problem, and we are not taking it so seriously. We heard about it, we know about it, we even study it during our college times, right? But our views with depression is really different from Western people, right? And this leads me to the fifth point as well on my list, which is when we feel sad, when we feel depressed, we don't acknowledge it. That's my fifth point. We don't acknowledge it. Yes. Once we feel sad and we feel alone, meron tayong mga symptoms ng depression and everything, we tend to disregard it. And then if some of our friends or family, they will ask us, how are you? Okay ka lang ba dyan? And everything. Then we always say, I'm fine, I'm okay, not knowing na depressed na pala tayo. So those are the reasons that I think na contributor why Filipino nurses here in Germany are prone to depression. And now let's talk about how I try to deal with it, those dark times of my life. Siguro it will vary from person to person kasi iba-iba naman tayo, but I just want to share it too. So maybe makakatulong din, di ba? So the first thing that we need to do is, of course, to improve our German ability to speak the language. And it will take time, believe me. You need to be very patient sa sarili mo, and all you need to do is just do the effort. And one thing that can help you improve your German language ability is watch a lot of TV, especially here in Germany that most sa palabas nila sa TV is Germans lahat. Especially yung mga pambata na mga shows like Kika and stuff. Hindi ko na alam kung ano yung iba. And also, I listen to a lot of German songs and listen to German podcasts as well. So, especially acoustic, it will help a lot. And second is you need to accept that time will come, you will really meet people na ang tingin nila sa'yo is bobo. And it's fine. Let's face it. That's their perception of you. It's not who you are, and you know yourself. Alam mo kung sino ka and alam mo kung ano ang capacity mo. 'Di ba? All you need to do is just be humble and just do good sa work. Kasi time will come, people will trust you, and if you show your ability and your skills and that you are capable of doing things, they will trust you, and later on you can change their perception. But you need to be prepared na may mga tao talagang ganon. And also, you need to talk to your friends, especially to those co-Filipino nurses that you have here in Germany, so that you can share your experience, you can talk about anything like bad, good, or funny things na mga nangyayari sa work mo. In that way, yung tension na you cannot express, you can share it with other people. So somehow, na-release mo yung tension sa chest mo sa workplace, di ba? And in my case, I had it the easy way because I have my tita here actually. The sister of my mother is living here in Germany for like more than 30 years already. And also, I arrived here in Germany with other 9 Filipino nurses. So, we live in the same house before. So, imagine during dinner time, we talk a lot of stuff. Like, especially if we have some bad experience, like this person in our workplace is so and so, and Alice, something like that. So, in that way, nare-release mo yung mga build-up na tension sa chest mo. And of course, you need to be a good listener as well, because we don't know na yung ibang friends pala natin is also facing some challenges. So you can share, you need to share it so that it will be released from your chest, and also you need to listen to other people too, in order to support them. Not just ikaw lang yung iso-support nila, but you need to support as well, right? And lastly, when you start to feel sad and alone, and you think na may mga symptoms ka na of being depressed, you need to accept it for yourself. Like, you need to know na I'm having this. You need to accept it. You need to be honest. And then you need to verbalize that to your closest friends, like to those who you trusted na pwede kang umiyak in front of them. I even asked my friends that please inform me if I'm doing weird things already. Like, di ba, alam naman natin if you're depressed, natutulala ka, or you're doing stuff that are not really the usual. And I am also very thankful to my boyfriend actually. By that time, we don't live together pa. And what I always do is we call each other, we video call, and then I tell him everything, how I feel, what are that I have bad days at work, and then I cry. I trust my boyfriend so much that hindi ka nahiya na umiyak in front of him. Those people are the ones that you need for you to get past through this kind of situation. And again, you need to be honest. Tell them what you feel. Cry if you need to cry. So there. Akala nyo madali lang maging nurse dito sa Germany, di ba? But it's not. There are a lot of challenges and it's not easy. I hope na may sense tong video to, and sana kahit papano makatulong naman sa mga Filipino nurses na nandito na, and to other nurses who are planning to come here in Germany for work. I guess that's it for today. Thank you so much, and please don't forget to subscribe. And if you like it, you can share it to your friends as well. Please also hit the like button, and please comment anything that you want. Share your stories and everything. Bye.